Okay, so just one more reminder, you will need in front of you 2 different pencils. If you don't have them, that's okay, but you're going to need a 2B pencil, which is our drawing pencil, and either a 4B or a 6B pencil, which is a bit of a darker pencil. If you don't have this darker pencil, you're just going to use your 2B pencil, and you're just going to color a little darker. You will need an eraser and a sharpener, and we are drawing on a blank piece of paper today. So the idea is we're going to be doing fairy-like whimsical faces. Whimsical meaning kind of fairy tale sort of faces. So here's an example of what I have here. So it's going to have really big eyes. It's going to have, this nose is a bit big. We're going to make a smaller nose, and the lips are going to be nice and big. So we're going to try and make the eyes really stand out, and the eyes are going to be the biggest point of the face. So what we're going to start by doing is I want you to just touch the bottom of your chin and touch the top of your head. Have a feel of the shape of your head. Is it a circle, or is it sort of like an egg shape where it's longer but then a bit skinnier in the center? So we're going to draw that shape. So you're going to get your pencil, your 2B pencil. You're not going to hold it at the tip here. You want to move our hand back a little bit, and we're going to draw a big shape for our head. Now, when we're drawing our circular shape, remember how we don't just draw one circle and that's it, that's done. We draw a bunch. So this, we don't do this. Draw one circle and then we're done. What I want you to do is hold your pencil back, and you're going to draw around a bunch of times until you get the shape that you like. Yes, so we're looking for this kind of shape, not this kind of shape. Very good. Holding our pencil back. So let's have a look. Let's pick a head shape. So pencil down, and you're going to draw a head shape. Because it's bigger, it takes a little longer for us to get the desired shape, because we tend to accidentally make some wobbly edges. So if you have a look here, I've made some wobbly edges on this side, but that's okay because we're going to rub out all those itchy, scratchy areas. So until you have the shape that you like, it doesn't have to be perfect, because we will fix it in a minute. So you're going to draw out your head. Then what you're going to do, once you've done those bunch of circles, move it here for you. You need to see all these little extra lines. You need to pick which line is your favorite, and we're going to rub out the other lines. So you're going to go along the inside, get rid of those extra sketch lines that we think are not the shape of the head we want. Don't forget you can turn your paper so that it's easier for you to draw and erase. It does not have to sit in one spot. You can keep turning it. And you're going to rub out the outside lines of the shape that you don't like as well. If at any point you accidentally bump the lines that you want to keep, don't worry about it, because you can just draw over the top of those again. So we're drawing our head shape. We did a bunch of lines all the way around the outside, and we're just rubbing out those extra lines that we used for sketch. So you should be left with something kind of like this. See how it's not all touching? And I've accidentally rubbed out some areas. This is where you go back and you draw in those lines that you've accidentally scratched out. Just keep making sure anything that you've gotten rid of that you want to use, just draw those back in. Again, don't worry too much about how neat it is. It's just our outside area. Our real focus is going to be our features. So our eyes, our nose, and our lips. So you should have your head shape. How are we all going? How's everyone's head going? Does anyone want to show me their heads? No? Yes? Oh, Addie, I like that shape. That's a good shape. Yes, good job, Abigail. Anyone else want to show me their heads? I will never judge. All right, so next step, what I want you to do. Very good, Marissa. What I want you to do for your next step is we are going to do a center line straight down the center. So you need to find where the center of your circle is. Like on this little one, you're going to draw a line straight down the center. Much like when we did the circle, you want to hold your pencil really far back and go back and forward until you get it nice and straight. This will take a little bit because you want to try and make it right down the center. If you have a big piece of paper like I do, you're using your whole arm, so you're extending your whole arm out and bring it all the way back so that you can draw that long line. Nice long line. So you should end up with a line down the center of your page. My page is so big, too big. What do you think we're going to do once we've drawn that line? Yes, we're going to get rid of all the little extra bits. So at the top, I've gone above my head. We're going to rub that bit out. Down the center, I've gone below my head. Then I'm going to make sure that I choose just the center of these lines. I'll rub out all the other edges because we just want to keep it just in the center. We're not making this line very dark. It's a very light line because it's only a line so that we know where to put things. It's not going to stay on our face. It's just that we figure out where to put our nose, our eyes, our lips, and our mouth. Awesome. All right, so once we have that that center line down our face, we're going to do the next line that's across our eyes. So the center of our head is actually our eyes because the top of our head starts all the way up here. So this is where the center line goes across. So we're going to do a line right in the center, the exact same way, going right across, back and forth a bunch of times to make that center line. So you should end up with a circle and 4 pieces of the circle. Egg-shaped circle. So when you're holding a pencil, you're holding it back. We're not holding it right at the tip, so that we hold it back so it's drawing nice and light, and we're just lightly drawing across. Very good. And again, the next thing, we're going to get the eraser. Rub out those edges that we don't need. Rub out this edge that we don't need. And rub out bits of the line where they're not straight. I'm going to make my line a little darker just so you can see it, but I don't want you to make yours any darker. I'm just making mine darker so you can see what I've drawn. There we are. That's a bit darker, isn't it? So the next step we're going to do, we're going to start mapping out where our features go. So if you have a look at your face in the camera, you can see that if the center of our face is here, our eyes do not touch the center line. They're a little bit over, aren't they? Just a little bit. You've got your center line here, and you've got your eyes just a little bit over. So what we're going to do is we're going to map out where our eyes are. So starting from the center of that line and the center of the side line, right in the middle of the cross, we're going to go a little bit over and draw a little line here. A very light line. I'll hold up and draw it a little darker so you can see it. So not right in the corner, but just a bit bigger than your finger across. Then the size that you do that distance, you're going to do the exact same distance on the other side. So just about your finger size across. Like so. light line. Don't do them nearly as dark as I've done. I just want you to do light lines, but just to show where your eyes start. So this will be where the corner of our eye is. Then we're going to do the edges of our eyes. So then I'm going to show you a little trick as well. With your eyes, the distance between the two center bits of our eyes is actually the same size as our eyes. Isn't that cool? So the distance between the corner and corner of our eyes is the same size as our eyes. Yeah, isn't it fun? So what we're going to do then is we're going to use these two corners of our eyes as the size of our eyes. So what you can do, you can use a pencil, you could use your fingers, you could use an eraser. Or if you are super fancy, you could use a ruler. You're going to measure just roughly those two edges, find where they match up to, and that is the size of your eye. And again, measuring that center bit, take it over. So we're drawing those two bits, measuring the center of our eyes, taking it over and drawing that outside of our eye. So then our eyes are going to take up this and this area. And this is the middle bit for our nose. Some cool anatomy lessons we're learning. You can go back to school tomorrow and be like, Miss, the distance, or Miss or Sir, the distance between my nose and eyes is the same as my eyes. It's quite fun. The next step we are going to do, I'm going to get you to map out where we put our face. So from the center of our face here, our nose is about halfway, and then our mouth is about the other halfway. So what we're going to do is we're going to find halfway between this cross and the bottom of the chin. And we're going to draw that in, about halfway between the cross and the chin. So halfway between this cross here and the bottom of this chin, we're going to draw a line. And then halfway again between the bottom of our nose, which is the second line, and the chin is where our lips are going to be. My lines are a little bit uneven. I'll have to fix those. If you end up making uneven lines, it's okay. It's easy to fix. You just make those extra scratchy lines and rub out the extra lines. So we have lots of sketch lines so that we know where to put things. So rub out all of those lines along the side. Rub out any extra lines that you've accidentally made. Just so we have one line so that we know where we're going to put our nose and where we're going to put our mouth. You should end up with something looking kind of like an Easter egg that we're setting up to put decorations on. But it is the base of our face. So you put in your nose line, which is halfway between the center of our face and the bottom of our chin. And then between our nose line and the bottom of our chin is where our lips go. Awesome. All right, are we up to the next step? Yes, very good. Okay, so next step, what I want you to do, you are going to start with the eye. You're going to, from the corner of this eye here, not in the center of this eye, I want you to do a semicircle shape that comes up to the edge of the other corner. Kind of like so. Kind of looks like the Harbour Bridge. Once we've put in our Harbour Bridge, I want you to start with the corner from the other side, and you're going to draw under, back to that side, but going underneath. Notice how my lower one is not as high as the high one. So the one on the top is quite high, And the one on the bottom is a little bit lower. So we've got a really big harbour bridge, and then underneath just a little one. Okay, and the next step we're going to do, we're going to draw, when it comes to drawing our eyes, what I want you to do is we have eyeballs, but our eyeballs are not like this, are they? We can somewhat see the bottom of our eye and it goes away in the top. So when you have your eye, we've got our harbour bridge going on, you're going to draw a circle like we draw when we go a bunch of times, but you're going to draw it so that your circle is coming above, touching the bottom of your eyelid and going around like so. So it should come above your eyelid like that. I'll show you on my one as well. So you're going to find the center of this. You're going to start drawing your eyeball slightly bigger than your eye. See how it comes out the top? But down the bottom, it stays right on the edge there. So at the top, it comes all the way out the top, but it stays right on the edge down the bottom. Does that help? So see how the bottom is touching right on the edge there, but the top is coming in. That's exactly right. The next step I want you to do, see this top bit? We're going to rub that out. Get rid of the top of that eyeball, because that's going to confuse us a little bit. End up with it looking like so. Very good. All right, and the next step we're going to do, we're going to draw the pupil of our eyeball. So the pupil is that little black bit right in the center. So before we start, what's something that's going through our eye that we need to get rid of? That little sketch line. So we need to erase the sketch line so that we don't end up accidentally having it stuck in there. And we're doing our details later. So what you're going to do once you've erased that little sketch line, find the center of your eye. You're going to draw a very circular circle, as perfect as you can get it, right in the center. Then we've got this cool little white reflection thing when we look in our eyes. We're going to keep that perfectly white. So we're going to draw a half circle just above our pupil and a little bit to the left. So this bit here, we're not going to touch that at all. That's going to be pure white. And this bit here is going to be black. It's coming along. This next step, I need you to hold your pencil a little differently. So what we've been doing is we've been drawing with the tip of our pencil. What I want you to do is shade with the side of your pencil. So we're going to start in this top corner, just up here, just below that brightness. And you're going to shade, following that, and bring it down in an angle sort of shape. So you can shade into that highlight a little bit. You're going to shade that little area there. Bring it a bit closer. You're going to shade this area here in like a triangle from here down. Going to shade using the side of your pencil. Then you're going to do it on the other side. Follow the edge of there. See how this angle is going this way? We need to keep that angle. We're going to shade it all the way, keep it nice and light, all the way down, nice and light. See how I've made this side a little lighter than this side? Because we want to make it so that this bit's a little bit darker and this bit down here is a little bit lighter. So don't make it as dark just yet. You can shade it back into that little edge, blur out the tip of that edge so that your bright white area stands out a little more. Next step I'm going to get you to do, if you have a darker pencil, I would use it. Otherwise, you're going to color quite hard. This pupil is the darkest spot of our face, of our eye. So you're going to draw the circle of the pupil and you're going to make that really dark. Color that whole thing in really dark. So it's going to stand out and be super, super dark. Make sure you color the whole thing. We don't want to see any little white spaces in that circle. If you accidentally go outside the lines, just make your pupil a little bigger and pretend like it was on purpose. See how it gives it that dimension? By having that really dark spot in the center, it makes it stand out a little more. Then we're going to come back to the shading and you're going to really lightly bring down a little bit of a lighter shadow, but then you're also going to darken that inner center bit. We're going to darken it a little bit more and then lighten up down the bottom. Same with the other side. Darken just next to where we have that shadow and lighten as we go. So when I say darken and lighten, I mean push down a little harder, lift off a little bit and make sure you draw really light afterwards. And my motion that I'm shading in is I'm going back and right, back and forward like this. So you're going but really close together. So you start really dark. Then for the next one, you go over it again, but you take it a little lighter. And then the next one, you go even lighter. Going back and forward the whole time so that those three colors end up blending together. You're blending it out just lightly. So it should be darker at the top and lighter at the bottom. Like so. If you want to, use your finger and just smudge out the bottom a little bit if it's a little bit too stark white for you. So you've got that fancy little eye. Also, if you'd like to, you can get your eraser and erase just inside of that little circle, that highlight, so that you can make that really pop out. You can make that circle pop. Use an eraser to really just get in there, make it stand out that little bit more. But make sure you come back and draw that line on the top again, just in case you accidentally rubbed that out. All right, next step, I want you to erase this line here, and these lines over here. So we're going to get rid of all of those little lines around the outside of the eye that are distracting and making it look like the harbour bridge. You should end up with an eye looking like this. How are our eyes going? We're going good? Going to have pages full of eyes later. We're going to do lots of little details. Are we ready to move on, or do you need a little bit longer? Oh, that looks so good, Addie. Not ready yet? That's all right, keep going. Make sure that you're really darkening that eye. So you can make the outside of that eye quite dark. Soften it off in other areas. And smooth it out. Make sure to get rid of any of the little leftovers. It should end up looking something like this. It's a bit creepy when it looks at you from the camera, doesn't it? Oh, that looks so good, Haley. She's watching you. All right, if you've finished that one, what I'm going to get you to do is this little center bit of our eye. It's not this pointy. What it does is it comes down a little bit more, just a tad, then it hooks under. So I want you to sort of draw a little shape like that. So bring your top of your eye down a little bit past that line and hook it under. And then that's what the inside of your eye looks like. So we draw that down, hook it under, and then link it back up to that under bit of our eye. And that's what our eye looks like. Then it is time for the fun part, the eyelashes. So we know eyelashes are bigger on the outside and then they get smaller on the inside. They're also bigger on the top than they are on the bottom. So what you're going to do, you're going to draw your pencil in a flick motion. So you're going to do a flick, flick, flick. Notice that my flicks are not straight. They are slightly curved to go with the shape of the eye. So you're going to start right in the corner and you're going to flick up. Some of your eyelashes may go the opposite way. You're going to flick, flick, flick. Once you get to about the top of the eye, your eyelashes are going to change direction and they're going to start going the other way. And they're going to go towards the eyelid. Don't curve them too much because then they might look a little bit crazy. So we're always starting with them bigger on the edges, smaller on the inside. So they start off large and then they get smaller. Can't see them, my pencil's not dark enough. I'll do them darker. So you start off large and they get smaller. Sometimes some eyelashes go a little bit one way, a little bit the other way. But you're just going to fill those little areas up. So you should have eyelines look like that. Don't worry if the bottom here is a little bit yucky, we're going to add some eyeliner. So see how mine are bigger on the outside and then they get smaller and then they turn the other way. Very good. We've got big eyelashes. Then you're going to do the eyelashes on the bottom of your eyelids. These eyelashes go down. So I'm going to start from the center. And these ones are going to go this way. So they sit out a little bit that way. Then the one from the center goes back the other way. Now, our lower lid does not have nearly as many eyelashes as our top lid does. So we're only going to do a short amount and see how they're only very tiny, they're only very short. So these ones are really long and the bottom ones are very short. Start from the center go out to the left, and then start from the center, go out to the right. Only very teeny weeny, insy binsy, tiny whiny. Oh my gosh, Marissa, that looks so good. That's awesome. Oh, I've forgotten how long it takes to draw eyelashes. Oh, Haley, that looks so good. Yes. Then the final step for this eye, I want you to draw in. Yes, Abigail. Good job, Addie. They're both looking so good. Oh, awesome. We're going to do the eyeliner. So start from the corner of our eye, from this corner right here. You're going to draw a line all the way up, following the edge of it to the other side of the eye. And you're going to make it a little thicker. So it might have to knock into your highlight of your eyeball and also knock into some of your eyelashes. Now this is your choice what you want to do at the edge of it. So you can either have eyeliner that sits quite flat, or you can give it a little bit of a flick at the end. Me, I'm a flick gal. I love my eyeliner flicks. So at the end, I've done a little flick. So you're just following from the edge here, drawing it up, 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 up. And then you give it a little bit of a flick. You can make that flick as dramatic as you like. You could make it as small as you like. But I just personally love the eyeliner flick. So we start at the edge, we make it a little bit thicker, make it a little bit darker. If you have a black pencil, this might help you here because this needs to be a little bit darker. But if not, you just color with your pencil a little bit darker on that spot. That little flick. Like so. Maybe one a bit of a bigger flick. Yeah, let's make it dramatic. There's no right or wrong when you do eyeliner because it's whatever you like. Maybe you don't want it to have an eyeliner, that's totally fine. So that's our eye done. I'm going to leave you to try and draw the other one later. What we're going to do is a nose now. Are we ready to move on to a nose? Yeah, noses aren't too difficult. They're a little bit easier. So with the nose, we're going to find where the center point here is. So that's our nose. And we're going to draw quite a little, I'm going to do it quite dark so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to draw a little small round nose. Kind of like a tiny little button. See how it's evenly within each of the sections. Just a small little button. Tiny little nose, because it's a whimsical face. We're trying to make one that has big eyes, little nose. So we've got a teeny tiny little circle. Yes, good job. I like that. That's very good, Marissa. Yes, Abigail, exactly. All right, we've got our itty bitty little nose. What I want you to do, you're going to find the bottom of your nose. You're going to draw a flat bottom of your nostril. There's a little flat. I made mine a little bit too flat. It's going to follow up the edge. So it's kind of like a teardrop off the edge of your nose. Yes, perfect. And exactly the same on the other side, a little teardrop up the edge of your nose. Don't draw these very dark. I'm drawing them dark so you can see them, but you want to keep it nice and small. Itsy bitsy little tiny, teeny tiny. Marissa, your paper's too big for you. Yes, that looks so good. Good job. You're like mine. My paper's massive. It's hard to hold, isn't it? All right, the next step. Yes, good job. What you are going to do, just off the edges of these noses, these nostrils, you're going to do these little side noses. Now these have to be quite soft because they're just the side of your nose. So you want to do like a little backward C, mimicking the shape of your nostril. on both sides of your nose. Make sure they don't come too low. They're just mimicking the sides of that nostril. The line inside of my nose is very much distracting me from my drawing. What you're going to do next, you're going to rub out that circle, that really harsh circle in the center. You're going to rub out the extra lines. I'm going to make them a little bit thinner. So you've rubbed out that circle. Just a little itty bitty teensy nose. She wouldn't be smelling very much, would she? No. Yes, good job. Then you're going to, just on one side, draw a little bit of the undernose and just a little bit of the top. So it's just two little dots. So you've got the under bit here and the top bit here to suggest a nose shape, a round shape, without drawing the round shape. We draw a little bit underneath and a little bit on the top. Yes, good job. Then I want you to rub out this big line here and these lines along the side here. You don't need those anymore. You can keep this line because you can work on your eye later. So we're just going to do one eye, one nose, and one lips. And I want you to practice that one later. And the next step for our nose is you're going to do, so our nose comes up this way. We're going to do a little bit of shading. So we're going to shade the top of our nose, which is quite flat. So we'll keep that as a straight line. Then the side of our nose falls down this way. So we're going to do shading that goes in an angle like it would go down the side of our nose. So it's kind of like a triangle. So the idea is you're doing lines like this and then lines like this. So shading like this up the center of our nose and then shading like that down the side, but very softly. So very soft up and very soft down. Yes, good job. Then just using your finger, you can just blend it out just a little bit so that it looks like the nose. So it gives it some shape. I shaded it too much. Oh no, that's okay. Yes, very good. So we've got our little cutesy little nose and our big head. The next step we're going to do, just under the nose, right under that little tip, we're going to do a teardrop shape. And that's this thing called our philtrum, which is this little bit just in here. Oh, I don't have any fake nails. There we are, this little bit just in here. Just there. That little philtrum bit. So it's a little teardrop. So it's a little bit skinny. So it's very light because it's not a defining feature. It's just a little light shape. So it's this shape. Little teardrop shape. It goes just under there. We paused. We're playing with our philtrum. Yes, very good. So you should have your cutesy little button nose. If you want to add any shading to your nose, you're more than welcome to. You can add some shading under the nostrils because obviously that's where the shadow is. Anything that has a shadow under it. So see how our nose sticks out further than our face? So under here would have shadow and under our nostrils would have shadow. All right, I see we've all got our cute little button noses. We're going to move on to our lips. Lips are a little bit sometimes tricky, hit or miss, because there's a lot of different ways to do them. We're going to do this technique. It starts off looking like this. I know it looks kind of like a burger, hamburger you get, but it does turn into a nice set of lips. So we're going to start by finding the bottom of our lips, which is underneath here, and you're going to draw. Let's remember that this character is going to have big lips, little nose, big eyes. So you want to draw some nice big bottom lip. Don't draw it too dark because we are going to have to rub it out at the end. Try and make sure that it's even on both sides. So if you need to come back and make it a bit straight. If it's too dark and it's distracting from you, you can rub it out and draw it again. Elena, you've got a big smiley face on yours. How are we going with ours? Oh, good job. Yes. All right, I see we're all working very hard. We've got that bottom lip. Then what you're going to do, this top lip, from the center, we're going to draw, oh, I've got to make this a little wider. We're going to draw a lip that comes on an angle. So it's not flat, it's on an angle. So you're going to draw an oval again, but it's an angled down. See how it's angled down? And it needs to come a bit bigger in your bottom lip. So it needs to come out a little bit further. Like so. It needs to come out the edges. Oh, sorry, Marissa. What was your question, lovely? Oh, you've turned off your camera. Did you figure it out?
Is that like an orientation?
Yeah, so it's like, instead of being straight, it's meant to be on the side a little bit. So like on an angle. It will look a little funny to start off with. So it has to kind of look a little funny to start off with. Because, oh, our mine's on a very big angle. Oh, Lordy Lord, no one told me. Sometimes even the teachers make big mistakes and we have to start it again. I made a big mistake there, but that's all right. So you should have a bottom circle. Why is mine? She looks like it's a bit silly at the moment, isn't it? Because it looks like it's kind of leaning to one side. It's all right. It'll fix itself in a minute. You've got your 1 circle, 2 circle, and 3 circle. So you should have them kind of angled off the edge. So you've got one angling this way, one angling this way, and this center one should be straight. Maybe my center one's what's off. Yeah, well, it's all right. Sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them. The good thing is we keep going and we can make it better. So this other step, what I need you to do, you're going to do a little circle just in the center of these lips, like so. So that's going to be where we do the center of our lips. It just looks funny. Oh, we'll figure it out. Then you're going to find the center again on these lines, draw a little dot off to the side, and draw a little dot off to the side. Kind of looks like when we were younger, we used to watch the Bratz movie. It looks like a Bratz at the moment, doesn't it? They're making cool Bratz. So once you have all of that set up, if it's really dark like mine is, what you might need to do is just erase it just really lightly so that it's a little lighter, because you don't want it too dark. We're going to do an overdrawing. But if it's really light, that's fine, just leave it. Mine's really dark. So just lighten it up a little bit. And you're going to find the center of these lips where those circles touched. And you're going to do a point up and a point up, like a V in the center, like so. I'm going to do a V and a V. Don't worry if they're not even, because most people's lips are not even with that V in the center. Sorry about that. Then you're going to, at the top, you're going to round it out a little bit and take it down. Do not touch the line. You're going to just leave it out just a little bit. So you do that V in the center, find the top. Don't leave it pointy, bend it a little bit and turn it down. Same with the other side. Find the top, round it out a little bit, take it down. Now remember, I'm not taking it to this dot. It's not going near the dot yet. It's just coming down. Then we're going to identify the center of our lip. Really make it look strong. So the next bit you're doing is you are following the bottom of this lip here. You're going under that circle. So do the bottom of the circle. Round it out at the top there. And you're going to give it a bit of a wiggle till it comes to about that line. I made my line a little bit low. So it should touch that line. So you did the bottom of the circle, down, wiggle, and across. Same with the other side, bottom of the circle, down, wiggle, following the bottom of that circle again, and across. So you should follow the shape of the circle that you have underneath. You should get something like this. Then we're going to follow just the bottom of this. We're going to measure it out, just draw it just lightly under, not all the way. And you're going to darken it out a little bit. If you want your lip to be bigger, you make it a bit bigger. If you want it to be a bit skinnier, make it a bit shorter. I'm going to make mine a little bit wider. I'm going to take it up to the edge, but not all the way across. So I've got mine. So I'm going up a little further, but not all the way on the other side. Oh, that looks so good. Yes, good job, Marissa. Yes, awesome. Oh, it is almost the end, isn't it? So final steps. Once you've gotten your bottom lip in, rub out all of these little setups for your lips. So get rid of all of the little bits in the center, all of the little drawings we did. Get rid of the line next to your face. Get rid of the line under your chin. There's any extra random pencil marking that you've put somewhere. You can leave this bit because we can finish our eye later. You can work on that one for yourself for homework. You don't have to have homework if you don't want to, but if you'd like to work on it. One last step I want you to do when it comes to our lips, we need to give them a bit of shadow. So like I said, remember that the shadow is where our lips touch. So you just want to do a little bit of shadow just underneath here, underneath the bottom where our lips touch. So that area should be a little bit darker. So follow the shape of the lips and make that shadow underneath, because pretend like the lip is sitting on top of the other lip and it's making that shadow. Then you want to follow the shape of the fullness, so you can draw little backward C's to make it look like that lip is full, all the way up. And on the other side, little backward C's to make it look like that lip is full. and in the center too. So it gives it the illusion that your lip is quite full. That's a big, nice strawberry lip. And if you want, you can blend it out a little bit with the pencil. Come back in. Ta-da! So you should have your whimsical face. So we've got the eye. I want you to try and do that one over there. Then you've got your cute little itty bitty button nose and your lips. Yes, they look so good. I really like your lips, Abigail. They're good. If there's any details you want to do, you can always come back to it. To do an eyebrow, you just find where your eye line is and you do that sort of eyebrow shape. Much similar to the way that you did your eyelashes. You start off with those little flicks and you flick it all the way across and down. If you wanted to add that, otherwise we're just practicing the other shapes for the time being, so you don't have to add that bit. You can always add an eyelash, eyebrow. If you need to look at what an eyebrow would look like, if you're drawing it, have a look at your eyebrows. They've got little flicks up here, and then they're longer when they come down here, aren't they? So you got little flicks here, longer. Yeah, exactly. So you got the little ones at the front. So if you wanted to draw your eyebrow, you draw little flicks at the top and long straight ones down the side. So it's got that little bit of a curve, so it's not a straight line, it's a little bit of a curve. The paper needs to be like this so I can fit it in the frame better, doesn't it? That works better. All right, lovelies, did anyone want to show their work? Have it up so we can have a look. Ah, they're looking so good. Good job, Abigail. Ah, Ellie, that looks awesome. Addie, amazing. Marissa, that eyeliner is so good. Good job, Elena, I love it. I don't have a green screen. I'm loving your lips, they're very good. Oh, Patizia, you used color, it's so cute. Tika, I love your eye, good job. William, yes, look at that. I love your little nose, it's very cute. Achita, I like that one too. That's looking so fancy. She's looking very regal. All right, lovelies, it's only 1 minute to the end. What I'll do is I'll ask you all to unmute and we can say goodbye.
Bye. Bye. See you next week. Bye.